We are the dark horse. We don't run in the race, never have, and never intend to. You can't equate us, put us in a box, or place us within the borders of a map. For over 80 years, we have pushed the limits of technology to put imaging tools in the hands of those that are willing to go the distance to capture extraordinary moments. Our first compact camera helped democratize photography. It broke free an entirely new generation to go out there and create images in ways that no one had imagined before. So we made it our business. We continued this revolution with the industry-changing OM1. It was not simply a camera, but an innovative imaging system that cut in half the total size and weight that photographers carried on their shoulders. They said it was impossible, that a compact SLR system was a dream, that handheld starscapes were fantasy, or that a small sensor could take big photos. But look at us now. Doing the impossible is our legacy. But there always comes the point where one must take their own advice. And for us, that time is now. We are breaking free from the past to begin a new chapter of our legacy. Our name may change, but who we are and what we stand for never will. Like Yoshihisa Maitani before, we again promise to climb walls of convention, break barriers of technology, and build cameras and lenses that are compact but packed with impact so you can go and capture something extraordinary. Life is found in the unexpected, the adventure, and the wildest of moments, and time does not stand still. It does not take excuses or repeat. But to those who won't let those moments go gently into the night, for them, we exist. For them, we build tools to fight time, outsmart the odds, and break free to go where others never will. Rain, shine, or snow. Defy the moment with OM System.
Hello. Welcome. How are you? How are you, Claire?
It's great. We are the Clares, and welcome to this global live.
Yes, I mean, it is a very special live. We have had to be a little bit secretive, obviously, until this morning when we announced the M.Zuiko 20mm F1.4, which we will talk to you about, and which is what the show is all about.
We will, absolutely. Like I said, we are going live globally today.
I know, how fantastic. It's not just on Facebook, is it?
It's not. We are on YouTube. We're on a few different Facebook channels. So hello, welcome, good evening, good morning. It's 6 o'clock in the evening here. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us what time it is. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. We assume everyone's there.
So, yeah, so we're going out to America and all of Europe.
Yeah, and Sweden.
Yes, of course, Sweden. How can we not go to Sweden?
Yeah.
And it is really important that you tell us where you're from, where you are, what time it is in your part of the world. We've got a brilliant show lined up for you today.
We have, absolutely. And share the feed. Share it with your friends. Share it on your Facebook pages. The more, the merrier, right?
Exactly. But
so,
T's and C's.
T's and C's.
Yes.
Remember, if you've watched these before, then you will know, do not click any links unless they are posted by the Olympus country that you're watching from. We get a lot of spammers that like to come along and put in some dodgy links, but these are all free.
Always.
All of our live events, completely free. You get to come and sit, have a cup of tea or coffee with us. And
and in person, I mean, we've actually got, if you can,
we're in a studio.
We're in a studio. How exciting is this? I mean, we have sofas and we have a beautiful backdrop.
We
we have guests. We have live guests,
special guests.
It's going to be fantastic in person. So I think that's going to be exciting. As always, you know, please post your comments and your questions into the feed because we really like to know you know, what you think of the show, what you think of what we're going to be talking about. And that's right the way throughout the show from start to finish.
Yep.
We will try and cover as many questions as we can as we go along.
We will.
If we can't get to it because it's a bigger audience than usual and it's a few different platforms, we will go back over to them at the end and get your countries, the relevant countries that are watching, and when you've posted your comments, to put those answers in. So we hope to get that done by the end of the show or after the show.
We do, absolutely. And this has actually been shot today on
the 20mm. I know, it's fantastic.
We're
isn't
all
it?
set up. You can't see behind the scenes, but we have the wonderful Gavin and
We have
Sam.
an audience tonight.
We have a live audience.
We have a live audience. This is really different for Claire and I.
It is.
Because we
usually
to
at home.
Just at home, by ourselves, staring into a camera, talking into the abyss. But tonight it's actually lovely to have an audience and some feedback. So welcome, everybody. And
Yes.
we'll talk to you all in a minute.
Thank you for joining us.
Behind the scenes, as always, you've got your relevant country looking for the spammers, and we've got Charlotte and Gavin and Sam here, and that will be the same across the world. You will have their local, their local social guys sorting out the spammers.
We've got Amanda, we've got Pernilla, we've got everyone.
Fantastic. So,
have we got people watching, Sam? That's the question. They're nodding at us.
yes.
We certainly have. We've got loads. They're from everywhere. It's amazing.
Whereabouts?
So we've got Detroit.
Nice.
We've got Spain, Germany, Canada, Israel, Georgia, and that's just the last few people in the last few minutes. There's
Hello.
loads. Italy, Philadelphia, Finland. It's great to see.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. If you've never watched Claire and I, we've done a few different things. Obviously, we did the launch of the 150 to 400, which was very
the
exciting.
8 to 25.
We did the 8 to 25.
And now this beauty.
Well,
of the
this is the
lens.
4th lens launched under the new umbrella, you know, so it's still very exciting, and there's so much stuff to come, and we'll talk a bit more about that as we go along.
Absolutely. So, like you said, Claire, we have got a jam-packed show for you this evening. We've got 2 very special guests. We've got the wonderful Daisy Dickinson, who has been writing about photography for over 15 years.
Yep.
She's going to join us very soon.
Absolutely.
And the incredible photographer, Rania Rönntoft, who got to shoot with the 20mm.
Well, the only one.
The only one that's got to shoot with the new lens.
I've taken 2 pictures with it. When you gave me about an hour ago, I took 2 pictures of a tiny little mushroom in the garden. So I am so looking forward to taking this lens away, because honestly, it's so much more, and it's just gorgeous. I really can't wait to put it through its paces.
So before we bring our first guest on,
yes,
we've got some new T-shirts on.
Can you see this? So we have we announced our new branding. It's a sort of a rebranding, because if you ever used film cameras, you would have known that OM Systems was our original logo, and that's what it encompasses. The branding encompasses the whole system. You know, for us, it's about the cameras, about the lenses. It's pretty much about audio. It's about the whole thing, and it's very exciting times for us, isn't it? But what I want to show is, and if you look at these gorgeous T-shirts,
don't get them too excited.
Why?
You can't buy these T-shirts yet. These were made especially for us for this live event.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
There will be. We have been told there will be some merchandise down the line, but it isn't going to be tomorrow. But I wanted to show you this fabulous new graphic on the back of the T-shirt. If you can all take a couple of seconds to have a look at that. Now, in the comments, tell me what you think those 6 symbols are.
We were going to tell them, weren't we? But actually, then we decided that it might be more fun if people can take a guess at what they are.
I mean, I think a couple are fairly obvious.
Yeah. I get this one. Yeah, this one's easy.
But I think it's just so much fun, and we thought that would be a bit of interaction. So
we'll tell you at the end. So
yes,
hang fire till the end of the show, and then we'll tell you what each of these symbols mean.
And as I said, it is about the system. I think the one thing, you know, with the new branding, people have absolutely loved it. We've had so many amazing comments, and thank you for that worldwide. We are so glad that you're on this journey with us, because it is a journey, and it is just the very beginning, and we are all very excited.
So much more to come. We really are. So, Claire, without further ado, our first guest.
Let's do it, shall we?
Let's do it. So, Daisy Dickinson, some of you may know her from the photography show. If you've been to the show in the UK, you must have seen her this year. Or from many magazines.
I mean, if you ever had the amazing opportunity to read, and I've kept mine
I have
in an A4 sleeve wallet, the 100-year magazine, was probably the best magazine I've ever read. Well, this is all Daisy.
Yeah.
She does the content, all the interviews, all the design, the edit and everything. And honestly, absolutely amazing. And the digital magazine as well was all down to Daisy. So we have, you know, she definitely knows her place, especially within the Olympus system. So
yeah, absolutely. And Daisy met up with a few photographers in the UK and spoke to them about the 20mm focal length.
Yeah.
What it's about, why they like it, and we're just going to play a short video to show you what she found out.
Hi, I'm Daisy and I have been writing about photography for a little bit over 15 years and I'm also the editor of Olympus and OM magazines. I've been digging into the details of the newly launched 20mm F1.4 and finding out a little bit more about the focal length in general, and also talking to some photographers about how this new optic may fit in with the photography that they're doing. Hello Nick, thank you very much for joining me today. Why are prime lenses so important to you?
I really believe passionately that you should move, not the camera. My World Press winning photograph of President Bush and Prime Minister Blair, unbelievably, I was literally on the shoulder of President Bush, the same distance as I was from Prime Minister Blair.
And the new 20mm lens features an f1.4 aperture and it's incredibly compact. Would that be useful for your travelling?
So I would say that the aperture is extremely important. The size of the lens is also helpful because I'm often working in very difficult, sometimes dangerous, but maybe more importantly, I would say, situations where people have had very traumatic experiences, and therefore I want to be as discreet and as quiet as possible.
Hi Jimmy, thank you so much for joining me this morning. You shoot a lot of stills and also create videos with your OMD. In what shooting situations might you find yourself reaching for a 20mm lens?
Quite often, because you know, my most two frequently used focal length is the 17 and the 25.
And we've got an aperture of f1.4. Will that come in handy to you?
Absolutely. You know, for me, for the stuff that I do, both photography and videos, sometimes I have to shoot in really dark environments, so having a bright aperture would definitely help.
I think I know the answer to this, but is this a lens that you would like to have in your kit bag?
Oh yes, and I particularly like the size of it, and because I have the 1.2 lenses, they're great, but sometimes they might be just a tad too bulky. Just to take as minimum weight as possible. I think that it would be perfect for that.
Hi Cleveland, thank you so much for joining me today. In what shooting situation would you find yourself reaching for a 20mm lens?
Just about any, to be quite honest. As you know, I kind of really love the 17mm. Having that extra focal length means that gives me the fair advantage to snoop away.
Yeah. So would you say, with that in mind, that the f1.4 aperture would also be useful to you?
Oh, yeah, because at the end of the day, all the aperture means to me is that it's a faster lens. It's one of the main reasons why I've never really been much of a zoom fan.
Yeah.
I prefer the consistency of a prime lens and the speed, basically.
Do you think there's a chance that this could potentially replace the 17 as your favourite?
So I'm not much of a throwaway person. I will most definitely have situations where I'll be using it more than the 17 because, as I say, I probably compromise more than I'm willing to admit with the 17 because of the fact that that's what I've got.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Hi Martina, thank you for coming on today. You shoot a lot of travel and architecture. In what shooting situations would you find yourself reaching for a 20mm lens?
20mm lens is just such an everyday all-round lens. In most situations I probably would grab for it simply if I'm travelling, mainly because when I do travel, I travel as lightly as possible because for me a 20mm is a great little travel companion which, you know, it's in your pocket and it's small and you can take pictures and it just brings back that fun element to photography.
How useful would a maximum aperture of f1.4 be to you?
well, that would be superb. And I'm quite excited about it, simply because it just gives you that edge. It gives you that little bit more light. It ups the whole level. It upgrades your photography. And you'll notice in slightly lower light situations before, where you had to fiddle with ISO, or you were moving with shutter speed, if you've got people that you're trying to take photos of, it will just give you that edge with speed as well. So it's exciting.
Honestly, I really just can't wait to get this lens in my hands and also see the sort of work that other people are going to produce with it. Back to you guys in the studio.
And we're back. I hope you enjoyed that video. It's really good to see some of our photographers.
It's fantastic. And
Daisy!
Daisy's in the studio.
Welcome, Daisy.
Thank you for having me.
It's wonderful to see you since the photography show.
Yes.
Not that long ago.
Not that long ago.
It wasn't. Well, there's some really great comments from the photographers. Can you just tell us what they had to say, what they felt about this focal length?
Yeah, it was lovely to talk to everybody, and I think it's clear to see that everyone's really looking forward to the lens being something that they can have in their kit bag. And a really big takeaway was that it really just sits between the 17 and the 25mm lens, particularly for photographers that love primes. I think we're always, everyone would love a new prime lens within the system.
Yeah.
So for just those opportunities where you've got something where the 17 might just be a little bit too wide, or the 25 might just be a little bit too close, the 20mm is really just going to bridge a gap and offer so much to, I think, adventure photographers and people that want to have something light in their kit bag, probably just on their camera the whole time.
Absolutely.
I know Claire and myself have always got the 25 1.2 on our cameras.
Always.
Everybody knows that Claire's favourite is the 25 1.2.
And I'm the same, kind of never comes off.
Yep.
But actually, I've been thinking more and more about this focal length, and having spoken to the other guys as well, hearing what they have to say about it, I think it could probably be something that ends up on my camera for a long time as well.
Good for video, I think, as well, sort of that mid.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking to Jimmy, definitely, I think, he was sort of saying it will be of use to him as well.
Which I really love. So let's talk about the focal length, because obviously, a lot of people say 20mm, that's good, 40mm and 35mm sensor terms. It's quite an unusual focal length, or is it?
Yes, I think, well, there's a big debate, isn't there, about whether the 50mm or the nifty 50 is the closest in relation to the human eye view.
Yeah.
There's a lot of science, other people have done some maths, but actually I think when I have read into it a little bit more, it is safe to say that the 40mm focal length, so the 20mm in our equivalent, is about as close as you can get when you take all the science out of it, which I won't bore you with. I think in practical terms, what that means for photographers is it gives you an opportunity to really get immersed in the scene that you're shooting and not worry too much about sort of how close you are to things. I think it gives a really realistic perspective. So particularly for people that are going out and shooting sort of on the fly, it'll be a really fantastic option.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always a great believer that when you sort of pick the camera up and what you're seeing, like you say, what you're doing, even without a camera in front of you, when you stand and look at something, that is what your vision is. And obviously then you have to sort of create an image from that. And the 20mm means you're sort of shooting exactly what you're seeing, which I really love.
I think it means it will be a great all-rounder. I think it'll be applicable to a lot of different subjects, and even for those that do like portraiture, the beautiful 1.4 aperture means that we're going to get a lot of lovely bokeh as well.
Exactly. And you do love the 1.2s and the 1.4s, don't you?
I do. This lens is absolutely, I think, going to be stuck to my camera for some time now.
I mean, but it's not the first time OM systems have made this lens, right?
No, that's right, Claire. Yes. So in the 1980s, the Auto S 40mm F2 was released.
Beautiful lens.
It's a beautiful lens. It's quite hard to come by these days. So if you do have one at home, hang on to it. They're worth a good couple of grand these days. They made about 10,000 units.
I mean, that's not a lot, is it, really? When you think about 10,000, it's really not that many.
Not many were produced at all. At the time, it was very popular with photojournalists, and it was actually believed to have been prototyped as a 50mm, but manufacturers found that they could actually reduce the size of the physical lens by making it into a 40mm,
right.
And that's how it was born. I think what's a really interesting takeaway from that is it just shows how much photographers don't want to carry the weight with them.
Yeah.
It was the same then and it's the same now. And of course, the beauty of this one that we've got now is it's a 1.4 as well. So it's even lighter physically, but also, we can shoot into the night in low light situations. And the thing that I think is going to be really exciting for people is because it's in the Pro lineup, it's also weather sealed. I mean, we're talking, this lens is almost half the weight of the 1.2, 25 1.2.
Exactly.
So yeah, to be able to just stick it on your camera and
there we go. And the key thing you said there about the sort of photojournalists loving it is they're in that moment and in that present, and that's very much what they see is going to be out and about. And again,
absolutely.
You know, it absolutely fits that genre of
that's right,
being in the here and now and taking what you see.
Yeah, and Nick Danziger, he spoke a lot about a working distance. So, you know, having that prime lens on your camera where you are the workhorse, you're the one sort of moving forwards and moving backwards and creating images as you're seeing yourself.
And I love that. I mean, it's when I had a quick look on one of the sort of sales sites, and you can pick up an old heritage lens for about £2,500, which is like a lot of money, you know, and they are absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely.
And like you say, it's all part of our heritage. Smaller, lighter, easier to carry around.
It was smaller, lighter then, and it's the same message that we're going for today, which I think is really great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. Well, Daisy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Taking the time to talk into some of our local photographers.
I can't wait to see that lens on your on your camera now. The next time I see you, be shooting with the 20mm.
I hope so. Yeah, me too.
Absolutely. So before we bring on our next guest, we've spoken about the focal length.
We have.
But Claire, tell me a little bit more about the lens. Tell me a bit of the tech behind it.
Let's have a quick look at the lens, shall we? So, as Daisy rightly said, the lens fits between the 17mm and the 25mm. But what I've done today is I've bought you the 25mm F1.2 Pro. I've bought you the 25mm F1.8 Premium, and there is the 20mm F1.4 sits beautifully in the middle. Size. It's 150 grams lighter than the 25mm 1.2, but still has the same technology. So you're still going to get the beautiful feathered bokeh that you would have had in the Pro lens, but it's much lighter, it's much smaller. And so when you put that on an EM1 or an EM5, that is going to be absolutely gorgeous just to sort of pop in your bag or pop over your shoulder and photograph. What's really interesting is the first lens, and I'm going to show you, that has the OMSYSTEM branding on it.
Nice.
So you would have always seen the Olympus branding. This one has the OMSYSTEM branding on the front, back and back caps, and it also has it on the front of the lens. So that's lovely moving forward because obviously that is the new branding. It's fully weather sealed.
It is.
Freeze proof to -10. So it's IPX1 tested. We always talk about the quality of the weather sealing, and IPX1 is the best testing you can get. So it's got freeze proof to -10. It's dust proof, splash proof. There isn't a better independent testing for weather sealing around. So you are confident to know that you can take it out with your body, your weather sealed body, and completely get more wet than the camera will, which is wonderful. It's nice and small. And as I said, nice and neat. It's a Pro lens, so it takes all the things that the 25mm 1.2 does. Super fast to focus. I mean, as I said, look, it's tiny.
I was surprised. I knew it was small. I was surprised at how small and how lightweight it was when I put it on the camera.
I so know this is going to be on your EM1X. Claire shoots with the EM1X and 25mm 1.2. This is going to be her lens because it's just gorgeous. And of course, let's talk about the price.
It's a good price.
Yeah.
£649.
Right. Okay. So when you think about the F1.2s, which sit just under the just on the £1,000 mark, again, it sits right between the two when it comes to price, but you're certainly not losing anything when it comes to optical quality. And that's obviously what we are all about. It's all about image quality.
Absolutely.
So if you've got any questions, you're all a bit quiet out there. We normally get waved around that you got
we
any
usually
questions.
Get a question.
If you've got any questions about the lens, please put them in the comments now. It'd be really good to hear your views, what you think of it. Sam's waving.
Lots of interaction. Brilliant. Because we're global, we've got lots of other people answering questions.
Oh, wonderful. That's really lovely.
Thank you, everyone.
So nice. But if you've, that is wonderful. But if you've got any questions for me or about the lens, I'd said probably our whole tech team across Europe and the USA are in the chat as well, which is great. But I said, if you want to know anything about the lens, give us a shout. So what's next?
Well, Claire, let's bring on our next guest. Well,
How
before
exciting.
we do that,
Okay.
so Rania is a Swedish ambassador, and her images are absolutely stunning. She is the only one to have used this lens so far. Like Claire and I said, we got out with it for 10 minutes earlier. But we're going to bring Rania on in a moment. But first, we want to just show you a quick video that was shot featuring Rania, all about the 20mm.
I am an outdoor and lifestyle photographer that grew up in a big city, but the hectic life really got to me. So I chose to leave it all behind and head to a small town up north. There, the deep forests and foggy mountains and the calmness of nature really captured me, and I changed my niche and became an outdoor lifestyle photographer. When I do outdoor photography, I'm usually out on actual hikes and outdoor activities, and I pack a lot of other gear. And I would bring the 17 and the 25mm Pro, but if I'm packing a lot, I need to make a choice. But now with the new M.Zuiko 20mm F1.4 Pro, I don't have to make that choice. And since it's the perfect all-around lens, it enables me to capture the big forest scenes and the outdoor details I need to tell a story. The fact that the 20mm is weatherproofed is very important to me, because I love being outside in the forest when it's raining or the fog lies heavy. Having the forest as my background can look messy, but the quality of bokeh helps me separate my subject from the background in a very pleasing way. Outdoor lifestyle to me is about being in the nature and finding a space to breathe and gather inspiration. And as a photographer, I hope that my pictures can inspire others to also head out and find what I find in the nature.
Hey, and we're back.
We
I
are.
hope you enjoyed that video.
That was
It is
beautiful.
Stunning. And we have the amazing Rania here. Thank
Hello.
you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Honestly, we are so excited. We were so excited when we knew that you were going to be flying in and we were actually able to talk to you in person. We were so excited because it's always done over Zoom or over
It's so
the
much nicer doing it
Yeah.
in person, is it? And you flew in yesterday, so
Yes,
you've had
I
a
did.
chance to explore England a little
Yeah,
bit,
I
a small
have.
part of it.
You had some fun? Where did you go?
We went to the Seven Sisters today, the big white cliffs, and I've never seen nature like that before.
Wow.
so
I
that
heard you
was
were walking
amazing.
quite close to the...
I was, you know, for the shot, you gotta be a little brave.
Daredevil, you're a daredevil.
No.
No, not really. Honestly, thank you so much. I mean, firstly, how long have you been an Olympus ambassador?
Since the fall of 2019.
Oh, wow, okay, a couple of years.
Yeah.
And obviously you hail from Sweden.
Yep.
I've only been to Sweden once. Have you been to Sweden?
Never been to Sweden. We
Beautiful.
will now have to go.
Yeah, you
Right.
should come
Hang out
visit.
with
Yeah,
them.
exactly. So tell us, what your first thoughts are on when you got hold of the lens. What did you first think?
Yeah, so for me it was the same as for you, that I knew it was going to be small, but I
Yeah.
hadn't realized how small
Okay.
and how
Yeah.
light. So that, when I opened the box, that was just so exciting to realize just how light it was.
Yeah.
And since I'm out for a lot in the forest and I'm doing hiking and I'm carrying a lot of other gear, the fact that it was so light just was really amazing and got me very excited. And then
That's amazing. What would have been your normal your straight go-to Olympus lens? Would it have been the 1240 or would it have been a prime?
I'm also more of a prime person, so it was
25 mil.
the 25.
1.2.
And then
Oh, dear.
sometimes the 17, because
Yeah,
I
you
need to
need a wider.
show a big scene in a forest or someone hiking in a mountainous landscape. But I hated having to carry two and
Yeah.
kind of swapping, or you end up leaving one in the bag, because once you're out and you're in it, you don't want to pause to swap.
Yeah.
So whatever you put on your camera first, it will stays there usually.
Yeah.
So that this is kind of in the middle, it's perfect.
Yeah, and we've had this discussion before with prime lenses and prime lens users, that you work that little bit harder when you've got a prime lens. Obviously we make some incredible zooms.
We do.
And you may not be able to get over fences or get to where you're going, but the prime lens does make you work that little bit harder, doesn't it, when you're shooting with it?
It does. It forces you to kind of zoom with your body in a sense.
Yeah.
You have to back up more or get closer, but that also makes it more fun, I think, especially if I'm out with other people. I get to really move close and see what they're doing instead of standing very far away and zooming into what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that.
And what's your general genre of photography? I mean, obviously, I haven't actually seen the pictures yet. I've tried to avoid the pictures at all
They're
costs
incredible.
because I always like to see them for the very first time. Sometimes you can't avoid some of them.
Yeah,
I
but
can't
you've done
wait.
good
I'm
then.
so excited. So is this your general genre of photography?
It is. I consider myself an outdoor lifestyle photographer, so
Okay.
it's not just pure landscapes and nature. It's often mixed with people actually doing an activity. So I shoot a lot of hiking, or I'm
nice.
choosing someone foraging for mushrooms when I shot a mushroom book a few years ago, for example. So I'm out in the field shooting people doing outdoorsy things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sort of nature and people combined in that
Yeah,
respect.
it's nice.
And again, obviously with the whole system, this makes it so much easier for you. So you mainly use the EM5 Mark III.
I do.
With the 20mm, again, keeping everything small. The whole
Exactly.
system's easy to put in your bag and to sort of travel around. I mean, Claire always carries the EM1X.
I always carry the EM1X.
Even if she's going up a mountain, she'll take the EM1X.
I will take the EM1X.
But actually...
I mean, that's very impressive.
it's quite good, isn't it?
Yeah.
But actually, it looks, apart from that, it looks amazing on the EM5 Mark III.
Yeah.
It's so much more practical because of the size, and both fully weather sealed, obviously with the image stabilization, the two really marry well together.
They really do, and I love having such a small system because since I'm out partaking in an activity, I am also carrying a backpack full of outdoor clothes and maybe food or tools to make a fire. Definitely snacks, coffee, first aid kit, and so I'm carrying a lot of other stuff, and so I need that system to be quite small and lightweight.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and also the smaller you are, the less intrusive you are.
Yeah.
You know, especially if people are in the scene that you're taking pictures of, the last thing you want to do is be right in their face.
Yeah.
You know, you need to sort of be, I think you get the better shots when you're a little bit more sort of backed out of the scene in that respect. So,
And we spoke earlier about the fact that you switched system because you were looking for a smaller, lighter weight system, and someone recommended it to you. So that's, you know, fantastic. And now you end up with a much smaller, lighter 20mm lens.
Yes, this is probably at least half the size and weight of my old system, if not more. And so I really downsized, which feels amazing because I ended up not taking as many photos at the end of using my old system because it was too heavy and you didn't want to bring it, and it felt bulky. But now I love taking photos because it's so easy to bring this everywhere. Like there's no excuse not to.
Yeah.
And how do you sort of feel about the weather sealing? I mean, when you first joined the system, did you think, is it really as weather sealed as it is? Was there always that little bit of doubt in your mind? But obviously if you're an outdoor nature photographer, that's going to be a massive important factor in your photography, right?
Oh, for sure. And I think, if you get a new phone or a watch that they say you can dip in water, the first time you're always like, but can I really? And it was the same with the camera for sure. But I've had it out in like freezing winter and out in very foggy, rainy weather, and nothing has ever happened. And so you learn to trust it. And now I know that I can just bring it out and it's fine. I don't have to worry. It's amazing.
I mean, I know a couple of Olympus photographers that still put a bag over there. And I was like, you don't need to. And I whip the bag off and they sort of, but it is something you just have to learn to be, you know, to trust the system and to know that the IPX1 weather sealing, absolutely brilliant and really works and gives you that opportunity to shoot where maybe you wouldn't if it was raining or whatever.
Exactly. No, I think rain can really put a lot of people off to go outside with their camera in the first place, which is a shame because especially in the nature, it is beautiful when it's raining and when everything's glistening with drops or that heavy moist fog. Like it's so beautiful.
Yeah, and you can get some lovely slow shutter speeds to slow the rain down and that sort of thing. So there's so much more you can do when it is raining, actually. It gives you that extra edge, doesn't it? So should we look at some images?
Before we do that, there's a couple of questions that Sam mentioned during the video. So one of them was about lens hood.
Yes.
And yes, it does come with a lens hood in the box.
And the other question which was mentioned was, and when we look at the lens a little bit more close up, if I can go there like that, to keep the lens small, there is no function button, but obviously you've got function buttons on the camera. Every single button on any Olympus system camera allows you to change that to any function you want. It doesn't have the manual clutch, but again, if you've got something like the EM1X on the back there, you can quickly change your function lever from AF to MF. So again, you know, it keeps the lens much smaller, but doesn't lose that functionality because you can then add that button to the body. So no problems there at all.
Fantastic. So let's take a look at some of Rania's images.
Oh, right, hang on.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
We've got the screen down there.
Oh, Rania, that is gorgeous.
Thank you. So this is obviously one of those instances where I went out into fog and rain.
Beautiful.
And I am lucky enough to live very close to a forest.
Okay.
So within 5 minutes from my house, I am in this forest.
We are going to stay with Rania.
Yes, I have a guest room in the basement. So
Fantastic.
you're welcome.
We're there.
So when I saw the fog roll down the mountain that is behind this forest,
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm running out with my camera.
Fantastic.
And then I did, and I took this photo.
And this is amazing to have this on your doorstep. It's
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful. So this is just shot on the EM5 Mark III with the 20mm. What were your settings?
Oh, do I have to?
Can't remember.
No.
Can't remember. Okay, that's fine.
And do you shoot manual? Do you shoot aperture
Yeah.
priority?
I usually choose aperture priority actually
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
that's
same
the
as
most important aspect for me, and I
Yeah.
love to stay on the low apertures.
Brilliant.
And set my ISO, and I usually underexpose a little bit because I have very moody, dark photos.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then I let the camera handle the rest.
And that's
Fantastic,
exactly what
yeah,
you should be.
beautiful.
I mean, and if this is only a few minutes from where you live, I mean, what an amazing,
I know, incredible.
It is
amazing
amazing.
opportunity to get some amazing images. I love it. Absolutely love it. I assume the camera's on a tripod because that's you in the shot, is it? Or is that
It
somebody
is.
else in
No,
the shot?
it is a self-portrait, if you can call it a portrait.
Yeah, I think so.
So the camera is on a tripod, and I'm using the Olympus app so that I can see
Brilliant.
myself and
Yeah.
adjust all the settings,
Frame it all
and
right for you.
which is really, really
And the
nice.
iShare app is so good, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is. It
We
really
don't shout
helps.
about enough for stuff like this. It's
Yeah, I mean,
fantastic.
it is one of those things, and you can't see the app.
No.
You know, it's
So
not
obviously, yeah.
it's not so obvious, and
Yeah.
yet you can get these beautiful shots, and like you say, be that little bit away from the camera. I absolutely love it. It's gorgeous. What a lovely
Incredible.
shot. Okay, let's have a look at the next shot. Oh, tell us
beautiful.
about this.
Some
That's
low light
gorgeous.
stuff.
Yeah, so I wanted to test the lens in low light, which
Yeah.
of course it performs beautifully. And I love hanging out around a fire with my friends and get some good conversations going when you're sitting
Yeah.
around a fire. And a very, very Scandinavian thing is, of course, to make your coffee on the fire in a pot like this. So you stick onto the coals until the coffee is done. And then, yeah, I had a friend pour the coffee, and I took some photos of it.
It's just my
It's
kind of
fantastic,
evening.
yeah.
In the forest or at night outside.
But look at the fire, look how it's created, that
Gorgeous.
nice feathered bokeh, and the steam, just absolutely incredible. And pin sharp on the,
Yeah.
on the cup there. It's, yeah.
Yeah, even on the F1.4, it's so sharp, and
Yeah.
like you said, the focus is very quick. So,
Yeah.
I
Look at that
absolutely
zoomed
love
in,
it.
fantastic.
Yep, you zoomed
and then
right
you
in
put a
there.
little fir twig to filter out the coffee grounds, so that you don't get that in your cup when you're pouring.
Is that right? That's
Yeah.
amazing. I was thinking,
Clever.
I wondered what the brush
thought it
was,
was
but I
just a
thought
little
I'm not going to ask. But that is so that it stops the coffee grounds coming out.
Yeah, it's like
How
a little
cool is
filter.
that?
Yeah, you
Very
just stick a
cool.
twig in.
We're all going to be trying this
We
now.
are going to try this at home. I'm going to go out to the forest and get a twig.
I absolutely love it. Can we have the next image, please, Gavin?
Oh, brilliant.
Very nice.
We haven't spoken about the close focusing, Claire.
No. So it's 0.11 centimeters away, so it's very close focus.
Yeah.
Great for macro.
Yes.
How did you find that?
Oh, I had read about how close I was able to use it, but until you're actually doing it, you don't fully realize. But I take a lot of photos of mushrooms or wild edibles where I want to get quite close. And when I realized that I could get photos like this, I was just shocked, because now it's like, well, now I also don't have to bring my macro lens anymore.
Yeah.
So it's just amazing. And I love shooting mushrooms, so...
Yes, we're here. Obviously, we had a quick walk out in the garden,
We
didn't
found
we?
some mushrooms outside,
and we
didn't
did
we?
find, and like you say, you're a bit of an expert when it comes to the fungi.
I'm getting there. I've learned a lot this fall, and it's been super fun. As I said, I shot a mushroom book a few years ago, but I was so focused on taking photos back then that half of the things she said kind of went out in one ear and out the other.
sure.
So this fall, I've really taken the time to learn, and it is super fun.
Yeah, and obviously the different species of fungi from the UK to the Scandinavia is going to be completely different as well. And I think there's like something like 30,000 species or something. I can't remember now, but there's a lot.
That is a
There
lot.
is a
Which
lot.
means that there's so many to photograph,
yeah,
right? Because they all
yes.
come in different shapes and
Yeah.
colors,
Yeah.
and so it never gets boring. It's amazing, and they grow in different ways as well, off
Yeah.
of a tree or coming out of the ground.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like this one has literally pushed itself up from under the leaves, which is so cool.
Yeah.
And like you obviously got quite low, and like you say, the close focusing. And again, are you using the lens wide open on f1.4?
Yeah, I do. And sometimes I do the focus stacking, but usually not.
Okay.
And then, of course, I'm often out after it's rained, because then when the leaves and mushrooms are a bit wet, they have more of a shine to them.
I think we have a question.
It's more just to let you know how much love you're getting.
Oh, that's nice.
Thank you.
The vibes of your photos. We've added Rania's Instagram on.
Oh, perfect.
Yes,
So
do go
the
and
photos
follow.
are just beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. It's just the way it all goes together. It's just amazing. Just to let you know. And a couple of people have asked about your red backpack.
Yes. So I am a bit of a backpack nerd.
Have you got lots?
Oh, I have.
How many?
Currently, it's probably closer to 10.
Oh, okay.
I was expecting like
30 or 50.
But I'm
50
constantly
backpacks.
cycling. Like, I've probably bought more last year and sold some, and like I keep switching and trying them out to find the perfect one.
Sure.
So there's 2 red ones I'm using now. So the one that was seen in the video with me is from a Swedish outdoor brand called Rönntoft.
Okay.
And that's a very good outdoor pack. And then the one that was in my photos in the fog is an Osprey, kind of a simpler but still good outdoors backpack.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Got to have a backpack.
It's
love
important,
a backpack.
yeah.
And so much love
10
for your
backpacks.
images. I mean, you have got a beautiful theme
They are fantastic.
running through them, and I love your style. You've got a beautiful, quite unique style, which I think really is gorgeous for, especially for that type of photography you're doing in the forest. You've got that.
Yeah.
It's almost
Moody,
like
really,
absolutely
very
lovely.
Yeah, so everyone should go and follow Rania. If you don't already on Instagram, go and follow.
Excellent. Thank you.
Should we have a look at a few more images?
Yes, please. Ooh,
I love this.
Very nice. So tell us about this one.
So I spent an entire day outside with the new lens. I headed out to my forest after breakfast and decided to not follow any paths and just bushwhack through the forest, up across the mountain and down the other side to catch the sunset. And so I was up for about 7 hours on my own, brought food and everything, and then I wanted to get some detailed shots of different outdoor gear, and of course a compass is super important.
Sure.
Especially when you're doing what I did and you're not following paths and your phone could die. Yes.
I think there's no point in taking a compass if you can't read it, I would say.
For I would take it for style.
Just for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd be
literally.
like, oh yeah, let's go
north.
Sure, that way. I can't read a compass.
Right,
Can you?
the only thing is sun rises in the east, sets in the west. That's pretty much where I would be, sort of be able to point
we should
north.
be dropped off, Claire. You and me in the middle of nowhere with a compass.
There are a lot of shows about that.
1.4 lens, and then see what we get.
I'd love it. Don't.
No, but I'm very lucky to be living in a small town that is in a valley between 2 mountains, and the mountains are in the north and south, and they're literally named North and South Mountain.
So she's got it.
So that makes it a bit easier. If you know where one mountain is, you know that is south.
Yeah.
And so
you're like, my town's that way.
yeah, and so I can always find home.
I love the fact that you've just gone out for the whole day.
Yeah.
And again, this is a little bit of a different image in the fact that, you've gone for something sort of quite abstract. You've got the sun coming through there.
Flare
a little bit of flare.
I love lens flares.
Do you love a bit of flares?
Oh,
Fantastic.
So you went for that on purpose?
Oh, yes, for sure.
I love
how
it.
can I position it and the angle of the camera to really get that lens flare coming in?
Yeah, and again, a different shot, the 20mm focal length really comes into play again with something like this, It's a fairly close-up shot. It's a fairly detailed shot, which you wouldn't expect from what we consider a sort of standard lens in that sort of focal length. So the Micro Four Thirds technology allows that macro, micro thing that you can get with the lens and the sensor being so close to each other makes a huge difference. And so, like you say, you can take out less equipment but still get these incredibly close-up shots.
And for this one, obviously, it's my hand holding it and then I'm holding the camera. So it's still wide enough that I can get a little bit of my arm and some environment without being too wide and too far away.
Yeah.
So it's
like
really
what
good.
we were talking about with Daisy, about being able to see what your eye sees.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, shows the versatility of this focal range. I think that's the thing, isn't it? Okay, let's have a look. I don't know what number shot are we at?
I don't know. We're on 4.
So I'm enjoying myself too much. 4, thank you, Gavin. Thank you. Let's have a look. See, and now we've gone for the wide landscape shot.
Yeah.
And you see, you cannot believe this is
so
taken
different.
with the same lens.
No.
Yeah. You really can't believe this is taken with the same lens. It's so versatile in that. So where is this? Is this near home?
No, this is up north in the Finnish Lapland.
Oh, lovely.
So we got up when it was still dark. I think it was 5 in the morning. drove to a little hiking spot to hike up to this mountain peak and this little lake for sunrise.
Beautiful.
And so I could stand on this rock and watch the sunrise over this little
colours
lake
are
up in the mountains.
lovely.
And yeah, in Finland they refer to it as ruska, which is when the fall colors are like at its peak, when it's
Yeah.
all red and orange and it's beautiful.
Love fall.
Claire's mad
My
for
favourite
fall.
I mean,
season.
so am I. And I'm so
Favourite
glad I
season.
got to use this lens during my
Yeah.
favorite season because
Yeah.
it really captures my style and what I
Right.
love the most. So
Yeah, I suppose, like you say, those two going together, but the reds
It's
are
just-
absolutely beautiful and obviously
Matches the background.
yeah,
absolutely gorgeous.
very
I mean,
important.
You know, it's one of those things. Scandinavia's always been on our hit list, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We've spoken about it a lot, you know. And although I've flown in and flown out, I've always done the big cities, but the landscape just looks so incredible.
It is beautiful.
And you know, to be able. So, did you just take the 20mm on this trip? Was this like, right, I'm going to only shoot with the 20. I'm going to be really fixed about what I do. I'm going to put a couple of other lenses in just in case, but you never use the other ones. or-
No, like from when I got the 20mm and to shoot and like really test it, it's the only thing I've been using. It's been on my camera for everything to really like test it. How
Yeah.
much can I do with it? Can
Yeah.
I get those wide shots and
Yeah.
the details and the macro-esque of the mushrooms and everything in between? So
Yeah.
I put it on and it was like, it's not coming off. This is
I
what I'm
mean,
using now.
I'm
And
so
you have.
excited.
You have captured it brilliantly.
I'm so excited. Ours only arrived yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
So, and I'm off for a couple of days. So, guess what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to be out with this lens the whole time. I'm so looking forward to it. I am.
You're gonna
really
love
looking
it.
forward to it. Honestly, there it is. There you go. Just put that there like that. There you go. Really small.
Where's it going?
Next. Oh yeah, turn it round. That's it.
There we
Thanks,
go.
Ryan. Do it. That's it. Okay, let's go to the next shot. Have we?
I think this is the last shot.
Yes.
This is. He's nodding at
Ooh,
us.
very
Oh,
nice.
beautiful.
Again. Where is this?
So this is also up north in Finland, and apparently this is a little hut that they built as a movie prop when they made a movie about Santa
Oh.
Claus, and this is where Santa lives.
It doesn't look like what I imagine Santa would live in, but I
I
can see
imagine
it.
in winter when it's very snowy, because
Okay,
it's up
yes,
on a
I know,
mountain with
yes.
the beautiful
Could you imagine
views.
how stunning that looks?
Opening up that
We should
porch
go
in
there when it
winter, and it was amazing. Really beautiful, and I love shooting through things.
I was
often
going to say I
find
love the
nature or
foreground.
plants, or I hold something in front of the lens because it adds a little bit of depth to
Yeah.
your photo, and it kind of frames your subject. So
Yeah, it's
I
really
found
beautiful.
these yellow autumny looking bushes to shoot through.
We've
Oh,
got a question.
So Lord Vader. Sounds, yeah.
Hello.
Very spacey. Rania, your palette seems to be full-like. Is that to on purpose, or is it by design?
It is definitely on purpose. I just love the colors of fall and that kind of earthy, muted
Yeah.
palette, and I think I use it for like how I dress and how I decorate my home as well. It's just what I like. So as a
That's your
photographer,
style.
I'm really drawn to that, and that's what I seek out and kind of how I want to edit my photos as well.
I think what I love about that is that means that you stay very sort of true to yourself, and your photography reflects that. I'm all over the place. So when you look at my Instagram, there is no style or substance. It's literally all over the place. And I love looking at a feed or a photographer where that you can see that the passion has gone right the way through the images and right the way through the story, and you're taken through that journey, and I absolutely love that. So yeah, don't ever change. That's gorgeous. I'm
not going to. Thank you.
Love that. Good question as well. Thank you. Really good question. Have we got any more questions? How are we doing, guys? Are you all talking amongst themselves still? We've got
Just going to say that there's so much love for all the photos. Megan McCabe has been on. Another amazing photographer. And but when you say you got up super early to get the shot, she said only photographers are crazy enough to wake up at that time in the morning.
Yes, that's true.
yeah, we had Megan on last year.
this
Time has
year.
run away,
A few
Megan.
months
We
ago,
missed
wasn't
you. She was in Chile at her brother's wedding, I think, at the time. And yeah, she took a picture a couple of days of the jacaranda trees from where she lives, and they were just so amazing. These purple, beautiful trees. I was like, wow, I want to go there. And whenever we have a guest, I always want to go to their home countries and take pictures there. We've got a lot of places to go. Mark, write that down. So yeah, so lots of things. So was that our last image, Gavin?
It was, I think.
It was. Oh, and we have so many more wonderful images from Rania, but we probably don't have enough time to show you all of them. But keep an eye out on all of the social channels, because over the next few days and weeks, we will be sharing more. And there's also a really lovely blog post that you wrote as well.
And where would they find that?
On my Olympus.
Fantastic. And we do need to mention the YouTube channel. The YouTube.
Yes. If you want to catch up and watch Rania's video again, the one that we showed in the middle, you can head on over to the OMSYSTEM.Global YouTube.
Well done. Well remembered.
Where you can, thank you very much, where you can have another watch of it. But be sure to follow Rania on Instagram as well, because like Claire said, her Instagram grid is just beautiful.
Thank you so
Absolutely fantastic.
And obviously, from our side, thank you so much for taking the time to fly in. It makes such a difference when we can actually get to see you and meet you in person. And thank you for putting up with all of our questions and for inviting us to your house, because we're there.
We are going, yes.
Winter, come in the fall.
Yes, next fall
Okay,
we're going.
Then we can pick mushrooms and look at all the fall.
I love it.
colours
We are.
and-
That's
Fantastic.
a day.
We could go live from Sweden.
It's a day. And thank you, and keep shooting with the 20. We are looking forward to continue seeing your images on
cannot
Instagram.
wait.
We love it.
You know what we haven't done, Claire?
What have we done?
We haven't found out if anyone guessed what the symbols were on the back of the t-shirt.
Oh yes. Okay, guys.
Did anyone guess? You'd have to trail all the way back through the comments. the team is sat there looking at us like.
Okay.
Maybe. So Claire, tell
So
us.
should we go?
start.
So obviously we have the weather sealing symbol here,
We do.
which you can see. This one is all about the system.
Small
Small system, lightweight, compact. And remember, the OM is a system, which is, again, which is why the new branding is so relevant.
Absolutely.
What do you think this one is, Claire?
This is image stabilization. It is.
It is image stabilization,
It is.
yes. Hang on a minute, that's not what it says on my
It
list.
is. No, it is.
Image. And this one?
This is our compact lenses.
Yes, very good.
This one is computational. Like all of our technology, so Pro Capture,
Yeah.
Live ND,
Yeah.
all of that.
Live composite.
Yes.
All those things, focus stacking.
Those incredible features that
Yeah.
are done with the processor and the computer
Yeah,
inside.
shooting menu 2, if
Yeah.
anybody wants to find the computational
That's the one.
photography.
That's the one.
It's all there on your menu and shooting menu 2. That's where you'll find all the absolutely incredible technology. And the last one is sensor format. Yay, because, it's all about size, close focusing and speed. That's what you get with a Micro Four Thirds sensor. I think we've covered everything.
I'm pretty sure we have.
I hope so.
It's been a great live. It's been great to do it in person, and it's been fantastic doing it globally to everyone at home from all over the world. We are so grateful for you tuning in and catching up with us and giving us so much love for not only Rania's images, but the new lens and for the new branding.
Yeah, and it's about looking ahead. As I said, this is actually the 4th product under our new umbrella's launch. 4 products in a year. There is so much stuff to come, which obviously we can't talk about. Very exciting. Let's look forward to the future. We cannot, we're so looking forward for you to come on this journey with us. It's just so exciting.
Absolutely. So that's it from us. We hope you have a wonderful evening, day, afternoon, whatever time of day it is with you. And we will see you again very, very soon.
Thank you. See you again. Bye.
Bye.